That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. Hello and good morning to everyone here at the Rio Grande, live at the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, and for everyone joining us on Facebook and YouTube. It's now time for our opening song with Reverend Kamatara and Ken Johnson.
And even Bo on the drums. We've got 3/4 of our fam here. And thank you for joining us. The theme of this month is play, and today's extra special theme is rest. Rest and play, good combo package. So we just had our prelude for play, and here's a song for rest, and I know you know it, so make sure that you sing along, and then also just kind of let it wash over you and feel it, helping you just to find that nice, gentle state of rest within yourself. All is well, I can rest, I am safe. All is well, all is well, I can rest, I am safe. All is well. All is well, all is well, all is well, all is well, all is well. I can rest, I am safe. All is well, all is well. All is well. All is well, I can rest, I am safe. All is well, all is well, I can rest, I am safe. All is well.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. We teach the science of mind so that we can live better lives and contribute to a world that works for everyone. I am practitioner Lisa Kerr, and I would like to welcome you to this Sunday service. And we would not be able to bring this Sunday service to you without the loving service of so many dedicated people who serve as on our tech team. We have Hannah, Tom, and Tamara. Our greeter is Reverend Janice, and our welcomer is Carol Ann Armijo, as well as our bookstore team. In addition, we have practitioners Teresa Greco and Camilla Herrera on High Watch, and Marilyn O'Leary will be offering the invocation and benediction. Our announcement angel is Dr. Norm Dawson. Our talk today will be delivered by the beloved Reverend Karen Lindsley and is entitled, I'll Rest When I'm Dead. Please join me in reading our vision and mission statements. Our vision, transforming our world with the power of love and action. Mission, loving all creation through spiritual growth and service, always staying true to our highest self. Invocation. Now let us prepare our hearts for the invocation by practitioner Marilyn O'Leary.
Good morning. Take a deep breath, please, and become aware of Spirit. Spirit is in us. And when we invoke Spirit, we invoke awareness in ourselves to know that Spirit is in us, is in all of us joining us. Spirit is all there is, and Spirit is goodness, love, peace, harmony, health, abundance. Spirit is all we need. And so I rest in that knowledge, knowing that it is all here with me. And I know that each person who is working with us this morning, who is providing their talents, is divinely guided, just as we are divinely guided in everything that we do. And so this service is blessed. The speaker is blessed. The people who work that you see are blessed. And all the people that work behind the scenes to keep our center going are blessed. Our board is blessed. Our search committee is blessed. And we know that all is in perfect order here. And so knowing this, knowing that we are one, that we are powerful, that we are united, knowing that, I bless us, I bless this service. And please say with me, and so it is.
Thank you, Marilyn. Now it's time for our sacred reading. For our reading today, we will read our sacred covenant in faith that our new minister is on their way. And indeed, next the weekend of April 8th through 10th, we will be introduced. There is only one life. That life is good. That life is God. This life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to glorify God, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as unity. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, so powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unifying and growing our community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspired to live in unity as an expression of wholeness and love. I am encouraging and supporting spiritual growth, awakening the wisdom within me. I am serving as a healer to all, applying the power of love, wisdom, and unity. I am generating engagement of the community in mystical studies and spiritual teachings. I am collaborating with community organizations working in service of a world that works for everyone. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will glorify God and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious. So be it now. Amen. I've also selected an excerpt from a poem for a special reading that illustrates to me the joy, peace, and real substantive rest that I experience in nature. The excerpt is from a poem titled Merlin's Song by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Only the light arm climbed the hill, the richest of all lords is use, and Rudy Houth, the loftiest muse. Live in the sunshine, swim in the sea, drink the wild air's salubrity. When the star canopy shines in May, shepherds are thankful and nations gay. The music that can deepest reach and cure all ill is cordial speech. Mask thy wisdom with delight. Toy with the bow, yet hit the white. Of all wits' uses, the main one is to live well with who has none. Being me, I had to look up salubrity. It means conducive to health. Indeed, that wild air I so cherish in nature is conducive to health. I encourage each of you to go outside and live in the sunshine, swim in the sea, and drink the wild air salubrity. Thank you. Now it's time for our special music with Kamatara and family.
Thanks. So we know that we're in the turn of the seasons right now. Please, Mother Nature, any time now would be great. We're looking forward to spring, and so, of course, we pulled out a classic, 1965, Turn, Turn, Turn. But bringing this back out again and seeing the words all over again, wisdom from Ecclesiastes, I love it. But some of the words in here are especially relevant right now with things that are going on in current events and even, here. So in a COVID, post-COVID kind of world. So you know this song. Go ahead and sing. Let it rip. We'll make a joyful noise. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time peace, I swear it's not too late. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace, I swear it's not too late. Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Really appreciate it. We are blessed today to have our beloved Reverend Karen Lindsley with us this morning. Reverend Karen became a practitioner in 2008 and a minister in 2014. Her mission is to teach the practical application of science of mind principles to provide a strong and unshakable inner foundation that facilitates long-term successful living. To do this, she has a focused ministry called Fearlessly Feral, CSL, through which she produces a podcast of the same name. She teaches online classes and workshops and also does retreats. She is the author of 2 books. In addition, she also serves as interim minister for Centers of Spiritual Living and is currently serving at the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Karen Lindsley.
Welcome. Thank you, everybody. And welcome, welcome, welcome. It is my great pleasure to be here this morning on this beautiful first day of spring. And there's a part of me that wants to talk about new birth on the first day of spring, but we're given these global vision themes to talk about. And I decided I wanted to follow the theme because that's what we've been doing here at Rio Grande. And our topic for this entire month is about play. And of course, you've probably guessed, for the entire year, we're focusing on living everyday wonder. And today I was actually given the title, I'll Rest When I'm Dead. And when I heard that, I went, really? I don't like that expression. I've never liked that expression. Never been fond of that phrase, I'll rest when I'm dead. But it's a good thing to talk about, I believe. And I have to confess, as I took a dive into this thing called resting and this phrase called I'll rest when I'm dead, there was a time in my life when I believed in that phrase. I don't know that I ever said it, but resting was not something that was on my list of things to do. Since then, I've learned a lot about resting. And so I wanted to share a little bit today about what I've learned with you and a bit about what some other folks have to say about resting. And I came up with an acronym for what happens when we don't rest. I had a little bit of fun with this topic too. So here's the acronym. If you don't rest, you'll become nuts. N-U-T-S. Not aware of true self. Nuts. And I could stop right now. When we don't rest enough, we are nuts. But I can expand on that a little bit and talk about, well, how does nuts really manifest in our lives? What does that look like? So here's some ways that being nuts can manifest in our lives if we're not allowing ourselves to rest enough. First of all, we might find ourselves saying yes when we really wanted to say no. Does that ever happen to you? As to me, not recently, but it happens. When we don't rest enough, we're not in touch, we're not in tune with that still, small, silent voice within us. We don't listen to our intuition. And when an opportunity comes up, we can't really pay attention to our true selves because we're nuts. We're tired. I'm reminded of the hierarchy of needs that we were presented with in early psychology classes where, we have to take care of our basic needs first for food and shelter and things like that. Rest is one of those basic needs. If we don't take care of our rest, we can't be in touch with our true selves. And so we might find ourselves saying yes when we really mean no. In addition to that, as an offshoot of that, if we say yes when we really mean no, sometimes we might find that we're feeling overwhelmed. Like we just can't get it all done. It's not happening. Sometimes, as a result of feeling overwhelmed, if you're anything like me, the result is paralysis. Just stop, dead in the water. I'm sorry, I can't do anything. Or we might fly around trying to get stuff done, but it really wouldn't happen. We'd be inefficient in our tasks. And that's another manifestation of not resting enough, is we are inefficient in our tasks. Third, if we're not resting enough, I believe we're neglecting our physical health. We might eat too much fast food. We might not get enough exercise, and we certainly don't get enough sleep. And what sleep we do get is not refreshing because we're so tired we can't sleep well. Have you ever been so tired you haven't been able to sleep? Or have you ever been so tired that sleep doesn't fix it? You wake up and you still feel like you have no energy? That's what it feels like when we don't get enough rest. And last but not least, I think when we don't get enough rest, we neglect ourselves on levels that I consider to be abuse. I mean, what else would we call it when we're so out of touch with our true selves that we're unable to even identify our feelings? When we become so single-minded and focused on what we think we want that we ignore everything we know to be true. We ignore our values and we manipulate and do other, we practice dishonesty and we do other things to get what we think we want. We compromise our principles. In the 12-step world, they have a name for this. It's called self-will run riot. And it's not pretty. And last but not least, there's a bonus. When we don't get enough rest, not only are we neglecting ourselves, but usually we neglect our families. Because we're so wrapped up and involved in what Brene Brown calls busyness as a status symbol, that we don't have time for anyone else in our lives. So that's what happens when we don't get enough rest. There's more, of course, but those are the high points, if there can be such a thing when we're not rested. Why do we do this? Why do we believe in such things as I'll rest when I'm dead? Why do we say things like that to ourselves? Why do we ignore the experts who say we need at least 8 hours of sleep a day to function properly? For me, it's 10. Actually, for me, it's 9. I learned that many years ago. I need 9 hours of sleep to function properly. Why do we ignore the spiritual wisdom that calls for 1 day of rest every 7 days? Why do we refuse to take enough quiet time to get to know ourselves and sit silently so that that voice of intuition, that still, small, silent voice within, can come out and we can hear it? So there's a few reasons for why we might be doing that. And I've learned that if I know why I'm doing something sometimes, I can take steps to correct it. I can say, you know what, I don't like being this way in my life and I can change it. So sometimes we learn about this thing about busyness from our parents. Our parents worked hard. They were always working. They were always doing. My dad was like that. He was always working. Even when he wasn't working, he was working. He was practicing his trumpet. We used to drive for hours and hours and hours between Las Vegas and Lake Tahoe, and on those drives he would practice on his mouthpiece. He was always working. Now, there's rewards for that. He could play trumpet like nobody else could because he practiced so many hours a day. But I grew up feeling like I didn't have a place in his world. So there's a price for those kinds of things. Then we have this good old Western culture work ethic. It is prevalent across the entire United States. This work ethic doesn't exist in a lot of other countries, by the way. Now, work ethic says that working hard means we are somehow morally superior to those who don't work as hard. Get a job. You'll be worth something if you get a job. Work hard. The only way you can succeed in life is to work hard. I'll never forget the day I heard, work smarter, not harder. And I went, oh my God, what a novel concept. Isn't that wonderful? Did you ever get asked by a parental unit, what are you doing today to earn your keep? That's that Western culture work ethic working in our lives. And then when we are busy, 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 we don't have time to spend in the quiet with our own mind. Because some people consider our mind a dangerous neighborhood. They don't want to go there. They don't want to sit with themselves. They're not feeling necessarily like themselves as a person. They want to get to know better. It's a dangerous neighborhood to go in there until they stay so busy that they have a good excuse for not doing so. We have this belief that in order to feel worthy, in order to feel as if we deserve the very air we breathe, we are afflicted with the disease of doing. We have to do more in order to feel worthy. I'll never forget the day it sunk in that I was worthy. And I did not have to do. I was worthy because I was a child of God, created in God's image and likeness. As Ernest Holmes puts it, a unique and individualized manifestation of spirit. And so are you. We are worthy. We don't have to prove ourselves by being busy. Obviously, this is a huge topic, and entire books have been written about this. I'm going to go out on a limb here. This is just something that occurred to me. When the pandemic started and people were forced to stay in and be quiet and rest, there were a lot of complaints about that. But then I started seeing things and hearing things like, wow, I've had the opportunity to just sit and I never realized how tired I was. I've had the opportunity to get to know myself better. And I never realized I didn't even know myself. I've had the opportunity to appreciate beauty more and nature more. And then people started realizing that because much of the country was shut down, Mother Nature was shining. The birds and the animals was shining. There wasn't as much smog in the air. So we got a bonus. We got a lot of good from that shadow of the pandemic. Of course, now we're experiencing some fallout from that because people got in touch with themselves and they realized they were afflicted with the disease of busyness and they decided they didn't want to do that anymore. And so they quit their jobs. So now we have a lot of industries where there's not enough help. That will balance out. I promise you, it will balance out. I mentioned Brene Brown earlier, and she talks about this phenomenon frequently. She's the one, I think, who came up with the busyness as a status symbol concept. She said it takes courage to say yes to rest and play in a culture where exhaustion is seen as a status symbol. Busyness is not a status symbol. It's a disease, a dis-ease. So now we have some really beneficial tools that we can use to help us with this particular affliction. I already mentioned one. just stay home. When we were forced to stay home, we did. Some of us, most of us, a lot of us, we stayed home and we reaped the benefits from that. So consider this thing called Sabbath. Have you ever noticed that whatever day off of the week you take, it's filled with shoulds? I should go to the store. I should go to the doctor. I should go to church. I should get my kids to the sports games. I should do this. I should do that. I should mow the lawn. I should do this. I should do that. We even fill up our days off with busyness. And yet just about every faith tradition, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Baha'i, and more, calls for consistent and persistent periods of rest. Periods where we can have self-reflection and meditation and time to be still and listen and time to just be. Doctors tell us that rest reduces stress and allows the body to heal. Artists tell us that rest allows us to connect with our inner creativity and our problem-solving capabilities. I've learned personally that when I'm becoming inefficient at any given task or a series of tasks, I need rest. Because sometimes I'll drop into busyness without even being aware of it until something in me is telling me, oops, Karen, you've backslid here a little bit. Let's take a rest. Let's take a rest. And so I take a day of rest. I call them down days or timeout days. On these days, nothing is in my schedule. If you look at my calendar, that day is a blank slate. There's nothing there that I have to do. And so I'm free. I can sit in the silence as long as I want. I can wander around my property. I can take a ride. I can ride my horse. I can read. I can take a nap. I can cook something yummy, which for me is a type of resting. I love to cook. I come back the next day. I turn the phone back on. I check the email again. I come back the next day feeling fresh, refreshed, energized. And if I've had a problem that was puzzling me that I did not have clarity on, all of a sudden, boom, just like that, I've got clarity. I have wisdom. I have purpose. I feel balanced after a day of rest. This happens in a smaller level too. How many times have you lost an item, looked everywhere for it, failed to find it, and gave up, and moved on to some other task, only to have it miraculously appear at some point? That's rest on a mini scale, on a micro scale. When we take retreats from our lives, whether that retreat is for a day or a few days or even for an afternoon, we are allowing ourselves to rest and benefit from that rest on a bigger scale. When we take full-on vacations, as long as we don't work during our vacations, that's rest on even a bigger scale. Is it difficult? Yeah, sometimes. I consider myself fairly balanced in terms of rest and work. I mean, I'm semi-retired. Ministry is not really a full-time job for me, and I'm completely retired from my previous line of work. I spend at least 1 hour every morning in meditation and contemplation, and I take a nap most afternoons. This kind of routine means that I do know myself. I don't hide from my feelings. When they come up, I face them and I process them. And yet, people tell me, you're so busy. No, I'm not. I'm not any busier than any other person. It just looks like I'm busy because I've taken the time to rest. And because I've rest, rested, I can enjoy the fullness of life. And yet, there's that piece again. You know, last week I took a little retreat to Death Valley. If you've ever been there, you know it's easy to rest there. I decided not to camp, which is what I usually do when I go to Death Valley, because I didn't want to work that hard. I didn't want to set up the tent and cook meals over the barbecue every single day and walk or drive over to the showers and that they provide that aren't really within walking distance. I didn't want to work that hard, and so I rented a room in Death Valley. And I knew that when I went there, I was not going to do a lot. I was just going to sit and be and contemplate and write. It took a full day to become fully present to where I was and what I was doing, because I was still thinking of all the stuff back home. And even when I did become fully present, I was feeling guilty because I wasn't out taking photos of Death Valley. I had to laugh. I finally got back to center. I finally got to that state of true rest. And I was able to indulge in one of my favorite pastimes, which is people watching. My room was situated right next to the lobby where people have to check in. And then when they leave, they had to most of the time walk right past my room. And there was a little store and a little ice cream parlor right across the alley from my room, which ice cream parlor, I won't talk about the ice cream parlor. I spent a lot of time there. Anyway, I had a little front porch with a rocking chair on it, and I sat there and I watched the people. One of my favorite things to do. So yeah, it took me a full day to get to a place where I was able to truly and fully and completely rest. But I did it. It's essential that we do that on a regular basis. And you are worth it. We have some very wise people in this movement who talk about rest. Ernest Holmes has a book called Living the Science of Mind. It's one of my favorites. And in this book, he has a chapter called The Discovery of God is Personal. And he says that chapter is mostly, no, I'm saying that chapter is mostly about oneness. The discovery of God is personal. It's about oneness. Holmes concludes the chapter by saying that the road to God is through the self. Now, how can we be one with God if we don't rest long enough to be in touch with ourselves? So if we want to be one, if we want to truly embody this principle that we call oneness around here in Science of Mind, we need to rest and be with ourselves. We also have this thing called the Declaration of Principles, and in that, Holmes wrote, we believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anybody may become a revealer of truth who lives in, quote, close contact with the indwelling God. Living in close contact with the indwelling God means we rest long enough to be able to hear and listen to our intuition and that still small voice within us. That requires silence. Regular, substantial periods of rest will allow us time to listen within and connect with our own mystical truth. Ultimately, I think the main reason for resting is because resting does allow us to be one with that one thing that we have so many different names for. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the most important component in rest. Even if you just stop and take a moment and breathe, and you take a deep breath. And with each breath, we see if we can make each breath just a little bit more a little bit longer, a little bit deeper than the previous breath. And as we do this, we sit and we see if we can feel the presence of Spirit within us. With each inhale and each exhale. Rest is that easy. Breathe and repeat. Breathe and repeat. We be still and know that I am God. Holmes said this in Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. To enter the silence is to quiet our minds and enter that place of non-movement. To be still and know that I am God is to enter the sanctuary of one's own consciousness. Be still and know. That is our call this week. And from that stillness, we can take it a bit further. In that stillness, we can allow for restful pathways to be illuminated to us. In that stillness, we can perhaps then consider taking a full day where we have no to-dos on our list. We be still and we know. I'm going to close with a writing from Ernest Holmes. He wrote this in the very beginning of the Science of Mind textbook. It's before the table of contents, before everything. It's right after that page where they have all the copyright notices. He wrote this: Peace be unto thee, stranger. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and thou art there art welcome to my home. There is room in my house for all. I have swept the hearth and lighted the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you will find comfort and rest within. The table is laid, and the fruits of life are spread before thee. The wine is here also. It sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit. All is yours, and you are welcome. Thank you very much. Namaste.
It's time for our, excuse me. Now it's time to share our abundance. There are multiple ways to give scrolling across the screen now. We also have baskets on the stage for those in-house. Your offerings are essential to our ministries, and we are sincerely grateful for all you share. I am abundant.
And I give
from my abundance. I am prosperous, and I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings are as abundant as the stars, and so I receive generously, and so it is. And now for another song from Kamatara and family.
Thanks, Lisa, and thank you, Reverend Karen, for that beautiful reminder. That was such a good talk. I might have to go back and listen to that one again, so make sure you check it out on YouTube or the links on the website, Facebook. You can always go back and see a talk again. And yeah, you know, even Mother Nature reminds us, hey, take a rest. It takes an entire season to rest. So then it's ready for the awakening of spring. And so we're going to continue our homage to spring from the Season Suite by John Denver, because there's never enough John Denver in my life, I'm just saying. And yeah, my little secret comes out. And to all of our friends who celebrate the first day of spring as the new year, Happy New Year. To our friends who are pagan, Baha'i, Muslim, it's Nowruz. So absolutely, Happy New Year.
Open up your eyes and see the brand new day. A clear blue sky, brightly shining sun. Open up your ears and hear the breezes say, everything that's cold and gray is gone. Open up your hands and feel the rain come on down. Taste the wind and smell the flower's sweet perfume. Open up your mind and let the light shine in. The earth has been reborn and life goes on. And do you care what's happening around you? Do your senses know the changes when they come? Do you see yourself reflected in the seasons? Do you understand the need to carry on? Riding on the tapestry of all there is to see. So many ways, oh so many things. Rejoicing in the differences, there's no one just like me. Yet as different as we are, we're still the same. And oh, I love the life within me. I feel a part of everything I see. And oh, I love the life around me. A part of everything is here in me. A part of everything is here in me. Part of everything is here in me.
Thank you. That was so beautiful and appropriate. Really appreciate it. Please help me with these offerings. O divine giver of life, we gratefully accept these and all your gifts on behalf of our congregation and its ministry. We honor each gift and giver and declare that our abundance is increased 10,000 or 1,000-fold. 10,000, we'll make it 10,000. Thank you. It is now time to welcome our visitors. We're delighted to welcome visitors to our center and online service. If you're here for the first time, we invite you to see Carol Ann Armijo at the welcome table at the back of our sanctuary. She has information and a flower for you if you so wish. If you're new to our online service, please drop a line in the chat and know that you are welcome. We look forward to meeting you in person as time and your situation permits. Our licensed practitioners are ready to support you in a mini prayer treatment after service. Please send us your prayer requests via rgcsl.org. That gets sent to all practitioners so that we can pray over them. I am available for prayers after service, and I'll be sitting in this area. Are there any other practitioners here that Marilyn O'Leary will also be available? And Kamatara will also be available after services for mini treatments if you are in need of one at this time. Excuse me. So it's announcements, and now it is time for Dr. Norm Dawson. He will share announcements to be followed up by a benediction with Marilyn O'Leary and a closing song by Kamatara and family. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I love it. Hey, real quick here, I want to bring up Thomas Hines, our new board director, and he's going to talk about teddy bears for just a second here. Come on up, Tom.
Hug-a-buddy, what a great idea. My goodness. Everybody should have a hug-a-buddy, right? This is our hug-a-buddy. This is Teddy Roosevelt Himes Bear. And we do hug him, and he hugs back. Seriously, everybody should have a hug-a-buddy, especially children. Some of these children are really going through hard times, you know, disadvantage, poverty, homelessness. Boy, these kids, if anybody needs a hug, it's these kids, you know, a little joy in their lives. And you know, we could make this happen. Now, we've got, I don't know, what do we got, 10, 15 bears here maybe? But we're only in week 1 of this campaign. We've got 3 or 4 more weeks to go. Let's fill these chairs with teddy bears. Let's get 100 bears to take over to wherever we're taking them. And it's, you know, it's love in action. And we can do it. Teddy wants me to read a little story about how he got his name. Did you know the teddy bear was invented in honor of President Theodore Roosevelt? It all began when Theodore Roosevelt was on a bear hunting trip near Onward, Mississippi on November 14, 1902. Mississippi's governor, Andrew H. Longino, had invited him, but unlike other hunters in the group, Theodore had not located a single bear. Roosevelt's assistants, led by Holt Collier, a born slave and former Confederate cavalryman, cornered and tied a black bear to a willow tree. They summoned Roosevelt and suggested that he shoot it. Viewing this as extremely unsportsmanlike, Roosevelt refused to shoot the bear. The news of the event spread quickly through newspaper articles across the country. The articles recounted the story of the president who refused to shoot a bear. However, it was not just any president. It was Theodore Roosevelt, the big game hunter. Yay, Teddy.
Thank you, Thomas. That's great historical perspective, what we're doing here. And what I'd like for you to do is I want you to bring so many teddy bears that what I'm going to do is stand in the center of the stage holding all these teddy bears. Now see if you can bring so many teddy bears that I can't possibly hold them all. So that's your mission. Okay. Well, thanks, Reverend Karen. I can truthfully say that message was just nuts. And thanks for the tip on rest. That's really important here. Hey, thank the Johnson family for the wonderful live music here. Always love to have you guys here. It's great. Save the date now. On April 8th through 10th, we're going to have a new ministerial candidate, not new, but the ministerial candidate, Reverend Gil Olmsted, and his lovely wife, Robin, who is also a practitioner. They're going to be here that weekend, and he'll be delivering a message, and then there'll be a lunch. And right after that, there's going to be a free workshop. So everybody needs to be involved so we can decide, is this the ministerial candidate that we want to approve or not? So be there or be square, and we do need volunteers for that so we can help out to make sure this is a really good event. Okay, in person. Gather is an in-person event with Yvette Trujillo. And this Friday, March 25th at 11 o'clock right here. The theme is Living Everyday Wonder Creativity. More information about that will be in the newsletter, and you can read up on her a little bit there. This is a time that we all stand for Ukraine, to end the war and violence in that part of the world. So throughout the week, please take a moment to remember that. We're all in this together. The Compassion Ministries provides a resource every week on different aspects of the community. This week is commemorating Women's History Month. And there is a list of women's empowerment groups in the newsletter through Meetup. So be sure you take a look at that if you need information about Women's Empowerment Group. And also they're promoting the Safe House. That's for domestic violence. Safe House provides emergency shelter, case management, therapeutic services, rapid rehousing, children's services, kitchen, and other resources. All these links are in the newsletter, so be sure to check that out. Don't forget the recurring events. There's A Course in Miracles in person and Zoom now. And there's a board meeting every third Monday. It's also on Zoom. You can get those links and find out about that information right here in the newsletter. The bookstore is now open. Anybody notice the bookstore is open? Yeah, we got a lot of great stuff in there. Even stuff for an consignment, yes. But the bookstore needs 6 volunteers to do an inventory. So if you want to, we need for you to step up and volunteer to do some inventory. So if you get 6 people in there all together at once, it's going to go real fast. So check out with the gentleman over there in the mask and talk to him about volunteering to be an inventory person. Don't forget, right after this service, there's going to be food in the social hall. So be sure you go back there and partake of the wonderful food here. Everything that I've mentioned today will be in the newsletter. Thank you, Thomas, for your wonderful story on the teddy bear history. And that's all for today. Live from New Mexico, Sunday morning announcements.
So please take a minute and bow your heads before we leave. And know that I can be peace. If I want peace, I can be peace. If I want peace, I must be peace. If I want love, I must give love. If I want harmony, I must be harmony. Whatever I want in the world is in me to be. And so knowing that, I know that I can bless. I bless people. I bless every one of you as you go about your week, knowing that you are a gift to the world, that you bring all things that the world needs. The world needs you. So I am so thankful for this service. I'm thankful for everyone that participated. And it was a beautiful, beautiful service. And so as we go on our week, let's remember that we are one. We are one with Spirit. We are one with each other. And so it is. Amen.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more So if you have a couple minutes, we have a bonus track for you just because it's fun and the theme is play. So if you have time, just stay for a minute or two. If you need to jet, we understand. Sort of St. Patrick's Day, so why not? For those of you who celebrate. It does, doesn't it? Can you get in there? Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're ready. Deep breath. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend.